Add it to my life list. It's widely known that South Texas is one of the hottest birding destinations in the entire United States. Part of the appeal is of course the incredible array of unique bird species that inhabit the region. But another is the beautiful scenery of the Rio Grande Valley, including open spaces, desert scrub, and beaches. Today, we're at one of these picturesque beaches, which just so happens to be right next to a company on the cutting edge of space travel. Hey everyone, this is Ryan from Badgerland Birding. Today, Derek and I are here with our friend Justin and his dog Stormy, and we are exploring Boca Chica Beach. And it's right near SpaceX, which you might be able to actually see behind me. So this is an area where a company has come in and they're building rocket ships to be launched into outer space, and it's right near the beach. So we're gonna drive the beach and see what kind of birds we can find here, but it's a really interesting view to just have the rocket ships in the background. SpaceX, owned by famous billionaire Elon Musk, sits right on the edge of the land in South Texas, primarily due to the fact that rockets can fall in the ocean when returning to Earth. To get to the beach, we drove right past the rockets and launch site.
So up here on the left is going to be production. That's where they're building the rockets and getting them ready to test out on the launch pad. And the launch pad is another couple miles down by the beach. And obviously that's where they're actually testing the rockets right now. Next week I think there's going to be a test of the 33 booster, and that's going to be potentially the largest tested engine so far out of any rocket known to mankind. So it's going to be quite the noise and disturbance out here.
How much is it affecting the wildlife?
Still kind of trying to document that. Obviously, it's very, very loud, and so we are hoping to kind of measure the decibel level and make sure that they're not exceeding their standards for humans. But if you can picture, I just counted 150,000 birds out here, shorebirds, during the Christmas bird count a couple months ago. So if they're near the launch pad, they're going to be hearing that very well, if not becoming injured by it. Yeah, if not instant death. So time will tell, and we'll see how it goes.
On this day, all was quiet at SpaceX, and we could see the distant shapes of many birds on the beach. Fortunately, the low tide afforded us easy travel up and down the sand.
So the sand here has a lot of clay in it, so we're actually able to drive on the beach when the tide is lower. So we had some laughing gulls, savanna sparrow, some blackbirds. There's a great blue heron up ahead, so it'll really make it easier to be able to drive. When you have to walk, it takes a long time. So excited to see what we can see driving the beach this time.
Being able to drive the beach allowed us to cover much more ground, as we scanned both the tall grasses up on the dry land, as well as the surf of the ocean. We spotted many common species, including ring-billed gulls, Forster's terns, and brown pelicans. Also in this first stretch of beach was a classic southern wading bird.
Just had Reddish Egret. They're really cool because they're very active hunters, so they'll be like moving around all the time. They kind of look angry, so he like had his head down, he was hunting. He got scared up the beach, so we'll see him again. That's actually a lifer for this guy.
Yeah, that's my life for Reddish Egret, which I think I just haven't spent enough time in the south to get one because I don't think they're uncommon, but add it to my life list. Reddish egrets come in two different color variations, a white morph and a dark morph. The white morph is pure white, while dark morph birds have a rusty neck and a dark gray body. Both morphs have a pink bill with a black tip. Reddish egrets are year-round residents along the coasts of the southern United States and Mexico. These birds are extremely active hunters compared to most other herons and egrets. They will chase after prey, stir up the substrate with their feet, and even create shadows on the water with their wings. Their typical prey is small minnows, but they will also eat crabs, shrimp, and other invertebrates. Look for reddish egrets along coastal beaches, salt flats, around barrier islands, and in other saltwater environments with shallow water. In their native range they are fairly common, but they don't often stray from the ocean, making them a good bird to find when visiting the states in the Gulf. We continued moving along the beach, finding flocks of different birds. Eventually, we reached the mouth of the Rio Grande River, meaning that we were just yards away from being in a completely different country.
So this area behind me is actually Mexico. This is the Rio Grande. So some of the birds we're seeing here on the Mexican side, and that's really neat to be that close to the border. And huge avocet flocks, really beautiful plumage. Just kind of taking it all in. Really cool experience though, to like be able to see another country and see the Rio Grande.
We stayed in this part of the beach for a while, taking in the scenery and tallying new birds that seemed to be constantly cycling through.
What do you see out there, Justin?
Bonaparte's gull coming in right there.
Hey.
Coming right in front of us.
We got good looks at American white pelicans, as well as a snowy egret and a white morph reddish egret.
One of the difficult identifications is sometimes those white egrets, and so we actually have that white morph reddish next to a snowy, which gives really great comparisons between the two species. The snowy has that yellow here, and it's definitely smaller, and the reddish has a much longer bill, so easy to see when they're side by side, kind of tough if you just see a bird on its own.
In addition to seeing copious amounts of birds in this part of the beach, the opportunity to bird two countries at once was not lost on us.
Gonna make the trek across.
I don't think so, but it's funny because Mexico is just right there, and I'm seeing birds that are technically in Mexico right now. And it's actually really beautiful, just this whole area with the river coming in and then all the waves out there. It's just a spectacular view.
We had the reddish egret flying closer, Bonaparte's gull landed, a lot of stuff going on. It'd be cool to spend the whole day here, but I think we're gonna get going.
There's a sanderling in Mexico.
Yep.
We left the south side of the beach and headed north toward a breakwall, where more vegetation was washed up. Here, we found sandwich terns, a few more sanderlings, and some very nice views of ruddy turnstones, but it was a turtle species we were hoping to see here. In windy weather, the waves can sometimes toss sea turtles up on the breakwall, where they get stuck. When that happens, it's up to people like Justin to rescue them and bring them to a rehab facility. We walked the breakwall where violent winds were certainly causing adverse conditions, but fortunately, there weren't any stranded turtles on this day.
Been looking for the turtles out on the jetties and making sure there's not any that got trapped. Haven't seen anything. Very windy, cool environment over here. You can actually see South Padre Island. We're pretty close to it. But very windy and cold out on these jetties.
A few days later, we headed to Sea Turtle Inc., a turtle rehab facility on South Padre Island, to get a first-hand look at these beautiful creatures.
So this is one of the turtle tanks right here, and it's nice because they also have a lot of native Gulf fish in here too. So there's ladyfish, black drum, striped mullet, and just a lot of other cool stuff. And these turtles, if we did find one the other day when we were out on the beach, this is where we would have taken them. Or I guess we would have called Sea Turtle Inc. and they would have met us and picked it up and taken it back to this facility. And so great work that they're doing here to help these turtles.
So this is a turtle named Cowgirl. She's an Atlantic green sea turtle, and this is one of the smallest ones that they have here, and you see that she's actually missing a fin. So now she's here and she's adorable. She's like one of the most friendly ones because she keeps coming up and saying hello. Boca Chica and the surrounding areas are an interesting mix of countries, habitats, industries, and wildlife. Each aspect impacts the others in a way that still hasn't been fully discovered yet. How much will SpaceX negatively affect native wildlife? Are the positives gained from humans helping animals like sea turtles enough to offset the building of things like breakwalls and rocket ships? Only time will tell. But for now, all of these things coexist at the intersection of Mexico, the United States, and the Rio Grande. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.